Hey guys, welcome to Rosie's Dessert Spot. Today I'll be demonstrating how to create these beautiful pink meringues, and we'll be drying them off in the Gozney Dome rather than a conventional oven. But a conventional oven will work too. I'll have those details on timing and whatnot for the conventional oven and for the Gozney Dome. I'm going to start off by weighing out my egg whites. I like to use fresh egg whites. And we are basically going to double the weight in icing sugar to our egg whites. So if I had 200 grams of egg whites, we'll use 400 grams of icing sugar. With the whisk attachment, I'm going to let that run with a pinch of salt in the egg whites for about a minute or so. When it starts to fluff up, I'll add in my icing sugar a little bit at a time. You'll want to bring down the speed of your mixer, otherwise you'll have a facial of icing sugar, and that's not fun for anybody. When it starts to create nice stiff peaks, you can add in a gel food color, only a couple of drops, or if you could, a powdered based food color instead. This is what it looks like after about 5 minutes of running. It holds its peaks nice and strongly. I'm going to fill that into a piping bag fitted with a number 6B piping tip. Give it a twist at the end, and then onto some baking paper and a baking tray. I'm just going to create these little dollops of meringues. You can make smaller ones, larger ones. The cook time and temperature won't vary depending on the size because we're not going to be cooking these, we're going to be drying them out. You can create little rosettes as well. And since meringue is nice and sticky, you can apply other elements to your meringues like sprinkles, edible metallic pearls. I've got some dried rose petals that I'm adding onto the meringues. And I'm just going to crunch them up between my fingers and sprinkle them on. Now onto the drying process. So I've got my Gozney Dome at about 70 degrees Celsius, so it's very, very low. We did have a pizza party for lunch, and so I did let this cool down to about 70. The longer the oven stayed on at a nice high temperature, the slower it's going to cool down. So if you could keep them in there for about 3 hours, it would be awesome. If you have to reheat your Gozney Dome by turning on the flame just for like a half a minute or so, turning off the flame and then popping them back in to dry the rest of the way, I would recommend at least 5 hours to dry out completely. When I dry them out in a conventional oven, I'll usually have the oven set to about 60 degrees Celsius, and I'll leave them in there for at least 7 to 8 hours. And by the end, you should have a little something that looks like this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll have a link to the recipe and the Gozney Dome in the description box below. And if you do recreate these, I would love to see it. Hashtag Rosie's Dessert Spot so I can check it out. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.